Right now, AI is all the rage. Everything is AI. AI won't go away. Well, it's not going to go away, but now it's really starting to infiltrate the visual media sphere. You know, now it's getting to the point where we don't even know if something we're seeing on Instagram was made or enhanced by AI or whatever. So, do any of you have a strong opinion on this? Like, does AI fit into conservation photography's mission or does it not? What do you all think?
I'll jump in there. So I think with any photography, I think transparency is key, particularly as it relates to conservation photography. I think I, I don't like the idea of deliberately manipulating situations, and that's something that we're mindful of in our own photography. It's important that what you show is accurately portraying the reality for whether it's an animal or for nature, natural environment, habitat, that sort of thing. So I'm not particularly fond in that respect. If for some reason you were to use an AI image to demonstrate a point, then I think what you need to do is be transparent and say, this is the point that I'm trying to make here is this. This is an AI image, AI generated image. Um, but yeah, I think transparency is really key to all of it.
Have any of the rest of you encountered AI in your line of work or had any issues with it or any sort of future thing or if you nerded out on AI tech or something like I'm very indifferent to this right now because I don't it's still so early to me but I know that some people have really strong opinions and so that's why I wanted to ask all of you.
I think that's a bit of an anxious topic as well. As I think a lot of us don't even know in some cases. We could have come across some very manipulated images, and these programs are getting very good, But I think back to what Josh said, especially in conservation photography, transparency is the most important thing. Like, especially if you want to put out a message or a campaign or anything like that that is demonstrating there's an issue with this habitat or this wildlife, and it turns out that if the images you put out there to show the issue are totally from a program and not even real, that could probably really hurt your cause. So
Mhm.
in the issues of in like instances of competitions too, and things like when you want to demonstrate an honest situation, that it seems like you either have to not use something like that or be very honest about it, because that could really really hurt your cause more than help it, honestly.
And I think it can hurt the credibility of the photographer. But the flip side of it is AI is not going away. Like it's part of our culture now. And I think one of the things is not so much should you or shouldn't you, but how, right? Is I think the question is going to be more how than should you or shouldn't you. Like how should it be used and when should it be used? Kind of what Josh was talking to. I don't know that people are there yet. Obviously, it's kind of like I'm in the education field, Chat GBT is, the big thing on student papers and stuff, the big faculty lose their mind on that. But it's not going anywhere. Somebody gave me the analogy the one day is kind of like the calculator in math. Like it didn't go away. We just learned how to incorporate it in mathematics, right? So how do you incorporate AI into what we do? And I I think though eventually there'll be opportunities to use it in ways where it's fully disclosed that this is generated by AI, but to tell a story that you can otherwise tell without harming the animal to get that story, right? So if us going into a certain spot is really impactful on the habitat of that animal, like sometimes just walking on things or whatever is really you know can be really devastating to small, microorganisms, fungi, and stuff, or whatever, from microcosms and things like that. Then I think the way you tell the story is through AI, but you say that it's AI generated, and so I think it can help in the future, but I think we just have to get past that it's here first, and then really have some really conversations in the profession about, but what does that mean, and how do we use it in a way that's effective and impactful and not deceiving and misleading, right? I think is where the conversation eventually needs to move to.
I think it's important to note too that AI isn't limited obviously to image generation, but text, of course. And if someone's going to use text to help, AI, to generate text to help illustrate an issue, I think it's important to do some fact checking, particularly at this stage in the game where there's a lot of errors that are being found in the information that's being generated, and that again going back to the point of harming your credibility in setting you back. If it's going to be more harmful to your ultimate goal, then it may not be worth using, or at the very least making sure that you're reading through that material and verifying that the information that's contained within it is factual.
Yeah, those are fantastic points. And I really love how you just brought that up, Donna, about the possibility of being able to use AI tech to possibly film or photograph areas that we shouldn't go. Like that could be really powerful. I was thinking about this amazing guest I had on. Her name is Debbie Saunders, Dr. Debbie Saunders, and she's the founder of Wildlife Drones in Australia. And I don't quite know exactly how their tech works because I way over my head, but they have technology that will find and track wildlife using trackers in these crazy areas and these crazy places. And it's like this most revolutionary type of tracking that we have. And they're able to track these species that are super endangered that we would never be able to find otherwise. And I am partnered in my professional work with using AI technology to locate individuals, like identify specific individuals of pattern individuals in photos. So yeah, if used the right way, there is a lot of good, you know, and just as long, hopefully, we'll also have the tools to know when it's not real. I think that's my biggest concern. Like, will we be able to? How strong will our bullshit meter be? Is like, like how can we tune that bitch up? Because I need a strong bullshit meter because that's my biggest concern. Just because these stories are so delicate, and I just don't want anything like that to hurt what our mission is. So
I think just going back to a point that we discussed previously, the issues with AI are not necessarily exclusive to AI. Some of those problems exist already, where images can be misrepresented. That already happens now, and it's something that we as photographers need to be mindful of. So again, that transparency, doing the research, making sure that what you're saying, what you're portraying, is an accurate reflection of what it is that is happening within that image.
yeah, I think I told you guys in the last time we sat down, but I submitted an image that has made it to a final round of this pretty big global wildlife photo contest, and I had to submit the raw image to prove it wasn't AI. I was like, this is new.
Wow.
And that kind of is what spurred this whole thought process. I was like, wow, I have to show like with data that this isn't AI. Like, wow, I have entered 2023. Okay, we're here.
I think it's good though because it does show that we're already like looking for ways to make sure that people are being correct. Like again, like photo manipulation has been around for ages. Like, we've already been doing this in like a lot of photo contests and a lot of things. And I think it's like a new scary thing, but again, I think it can be used for some good. Like not necessarily just like in our world, but in a lot of different areas. And like a one example, like similar to Donna's, like, you can like be like, this is a forest that no longer exists, but look what it could have been like, and like use just like things like that. Like it doesn't have to be this big scary thing. And a lot of the problems that we're facing with it have already been here, have been around, and we've faced them, and we are facing them. So I think, I don't think we need to be so scared about it. But maybe we do. But no.
Have you actually heard, since you're in the film world and I'm not as in touch with that world, have you actually seen any examples of AI being used in like wildlife film at all?
I haven't.
Mm.
No, not that I've like seen, but I mean, I'm sure it exists, but I haven't seen any yet. Even like on like editing things and softwares, I haven't come across anything in particular. But I mean, it's gonna probably come. Like it's just a matter of time. But I mean, like it could be like CGI and all that kind of stuff is kind of like on that realm. Like, they just like BBC or someone, I don't know who it is, but they just released that like dinosaur thing, and it's like winning a
Oh
bunch
yeah,
of
BBC. Yeah.
BBC. I'm like, so that kind of stuff. Like, I grew up with, like, everyone grew up with watching that kind of stuff. So I think in the film world, it's been around. It's just called something different. Yeah.
I grew up in silent film and black and white, so CG.
Yeah, no, sorry,
Yeah.
Chelsea, I can't relate.
Sorry. I was the little dinosaurs when I was younger. But I mean, like, yeah, it's progressed, and I think it's the same thing of like people are just scared of progression, but it can come with a lot of good too. It's just a matter of how you handle it and recognizing when it's truthful or not. Which I think we're already doing. Like you just said, in the submitting photos and they're asking for things, so it's kind of a good sign.
Yeah. I love hope. I love hearing all the hope. That makes me hopeful. Makes me feel so good.